White Mamba, Nyokayam Pembe. He's the commander of the kids based out of Wala Yamasa. As you know, contract forces of Africa were stationed at that village. Anti-government forces hired CRS to bring kids there from around Africa for training. But at some point, the adults with the PF started dropping like flies. This was right after we arrived in Africa. We don't know the cause. The kids ended up on their own. Must have been like fish out of water. Nothing to eat, no way to get back home. All the adults taught them was how to use a gun. Sure, they could shoot targets, but hunt for food? Not likely. They wouldn't have lasted long. Then the White Mamba showed up. He was faster and stronger than them, a better soldier, and he knew how to lead. I guess somebody wished upon a star, because their savior turned up like stardust straight out of the blue. The moment he arrived, the kids had their new commander. That was when they started attacking other villages. Word of the infamous White Mamba spread fast. But it isn't just his combat skills that got people talking. As you can tell from the name, he's the only light-skinned kid in the unit. Not to mention the blonde hair and the blue eyes. Not common in those parts. We have no idea where he came from or what he's experienced. The kid's a huge blank. But I'm sure you'll know him when you see him. One other thing. He's still a kid, so don't kill him. Be careful not to hit him with anything lethal. Not even a flesh wound. Our mission objective isn't just suppressing a bunch of militants. This is a DDR operation of the kids in that unit. DDR stands for disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration. Disarmament is obvious. We take their weapons off their hands. The demobilization part means dismantling their military organization to ensure they can't arm themselves again. To do that, you need to capture the unit's commander and have him order his men to disband. In this case, the commander is the White Mamba. There's nobody above him, so he's all we need to grab. Finally, reintegration. Through education and occupational training, we give them a means to live besides war. A lot of kids born in a war zone don't know any other way to live. So before they find themselves back there, we teach them another skill. I'd like to establish this rehabilitation process at Mother Base. That's why we're bringing those kids back here. It's not so much for their sake. It's for the world that we're trying to create. No other way about it. Those kids are amateurs. Bad for business to have them running around where we're trying to work. Bring them all back if possible. Or as many as you can.
Please select a mission.
Boss, the CFA soldiers deployed to Wala Yamasa have been annihilated. There are no signs of combat, nor any endemic disease. All the adults just disappeared. Only children were left. All those kids were ever taught was how to fight, and now they're free of the control of adults. They've become a regular bunch of marauders, raiding nearby villages, beating people and destroying property. Our contract comes from the government. We're to locate this militia, these kids, and kill them. But I say we do this the Diamond Dog's way. The government wants these raids to stop. We can see to that, but not by killing kids. We're going to disarm, demobilize, and reintegrate them. A DDR operation. To begin with, extract their commander to Mother Base. Once they lose that kid, the one they call White Mamba, the rest of the group will fall apart by itself.
Mission accepted. Heading to Central Africa.
Capture the White Mamba, the child soldier's commander, and bring him back to Mother Base. First off, head for Wala Yamasa.
Hello Darks, bienvenidos a Dark Player Gaming TV, un día más en esta guía, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. Como siempre contamos con el excelente gameplay de Dark Player.
Hey, muy buenas, gracias por el cumplido.
Hombre, tengo que tirarle florecillas a mi jefe. Y contáis, como siempre, con la ayuda, el soporte de aquí, Hardy Daytona, o también conocido como...
Dark Player 2.0 o Putona. Y bueno, ahora vamos a escuchar un cassette de la Fábrica de los Muertos, que es la misión esa que hicimos anterior de los niños, donde nos enfrentamos a Volgi.
About those invalids you saw in that devil's house. Poor bastards. All strapped down to their beds with those lumps on their chest. The medical staff tell me they were probably a type of cyst. Cysts can get that big. In some cases, yes. But supposing they're a kind of atheroma forming on the surface of the skin, the size is just too big, and the appearance is all wrong. In the end, the medical team were at a loss. Those lumps were like nothing they'd ever seen. The fluid you said you got on your prosthesis when you touched one was burned off in the fighting, and the factory burned down too. None of the tests we did once you were back at the base revealed a pathogen that could have caused them. Meaning we don't have a single sample to work with. Everything went up in flames. What worries the medical team most is whether it's contagious. Whether there's a chance we could end up like that. And Mother Base's sanitation control has always been strict. After all, war is great at transporting diseases. For the time being, at least. There's no sign of contagion or any symptoms that could be related. One more thing. About the surgery that had been performed on the people in the devil's house. Yeah. You said that their throats were cut open, with an acoustic tube pushed inside? Right. The tubes were hooked up to tape recorders, playing some kind of audio. Well, we picked up some of that audio through your radio transmissions and recorded it here. The intel team has been working on analyzing the communications log. What have they found? There's nothing tying the contents together. We've got a report on 3 deaths in a car accident on the autoroute near Marseille, protests outside the Libyan embassy in London, a press conference with the former Prime Minister of Sweden, a 4-month-old weather forecast for Balikpapan, and then commercials for appliances, cough syrup, and TV dinners. Assuming they're not all staged, they come off as recordings of your average public broadcasts. Public broadcasts? Just radio and TV signals? Yes. And from all over the world. We're looking into whether they're genuine or not, just to be sure. What else? A speech that sounds like it was recorded out on the street, and people chatting about how this year's tomato crop did. And there's nothing they have in common? We're partway through the cryptanalysis. That includes checking all audio ranges and running it backward and at different speeds. Then there's vocabulary breakdown for political suggestions, ideological comment points. But I don't think it's going to get us anywhere. Where were the recordings made? There's nothing linking them from that angle either. Just like you...
Your target, the white Mamba, showed up in this village out of the blue and took command of the child soldiers. The surrounding villages have been victims of their raids and brutality ever since. But if you extract their commander, those kids will have no choice but to stand down. Should wrap up the whole situation. They're still kids. You can't kill any one of them, including the commander. If things get rough, neutralize them by knocking them out or by tranquilizing them.
English isn't one of the ones you picked up. Really? Suggestions. Ideological comment points. But I don't think it's going to get us anywhere. Where were the recordings made? There's nothing linking them from that angle either. Just like you reported, we've detected virtually every major language there is. French, German, Italian, Spanish, including South American accents. Then there's Russian, Hindi, Arabic, Portuguese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Japanese. They're nothing if not thorough. Well, I don't know if we've got them all covered. Ignoring the ones that have gone extinct, supposedly over 5,000 languages exist today. Besides, English isn't one of the ones we picked up. Really? English? I know. Only 5% of the world's population is a native English speaker. But when you factor in those who've acquired it as a second language, nearly 1/3 of the people speak it. The world's dominant lingua franca. You gotta figure they had it somewhere among all the languages in that place. No English. Bear in mind we didn't hear everything that was played in that room. We couldn't isolate the more distant sounds due to static and the program could have been set to change every day. In a nutshell, for reasons unknown, people in that room with a common medical condition were made to listen to recordings in languages from around the world. It's not clear how the growths on their chests fit into it. It could have been treatment for them, or maybe an experiment of some kind.
I'm guessing one person knows.
Yeah, Skullface. He was there. The only thing we can say for sure is that he's involved.
Bien, bueno, pues ya se ha acabado por fin estos 2 casetes que teníamos, de la información, del
Muy
poco
importantes.
argumento que nos dieron en esta última misión que hicimos. Muy importantes, sí. Y seguimos aquí con los niños. Esta misión está todo... Estamos rodeados de niños. Muy importante no matar a ninguno, porque si no la misión se iría
Al traste. Y aparte,
al traste.
que se pueden extraer,
evidentemente.
lo que pasa es que nos faltan el Fulton mejorado para niños, o irlos extrayendo uno a uno, porque es una paliza increíble, llevándotelos al helicóptero o haciendo el truquillo ese que mostré de llevártelos con el coche. Pero bueno, no lo he hecho porque veo que son hasta 20 niños los que tienes que extraer, así que cuando tengamos el Fulton mejorado ya vale. Y yo es lo que recomiendo, no os matéis.
Pues sí, sí.
Okay, subject is in.
Sí, es una de esas tareas que hay que dejarlo para la segunda jugabilidad, cuando tengamos mejores materiales. No merece la pena ahora.
Que de niños hay una burrada, está full.
Sí. Y es jodido porque no les puedes hacer CQC de agarre, solo les puedes o lanzar o golpe.
Sí. Y en cuanto veis que tienen casco, se complica muchísimo la cosa. Porque si la
Ya
única
ves,
manera
es que les tapa
dispararles-
casi toda la cara. Como les va grande los cascos.
Sí. Y como hemos dicho antes, venimos a por la Mamba Blanca, que es Eli, el que nosotros creemos que es Liquid Snake.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Liquid o Solid, que nos pueden pillar ahí por sorpresa.
Yo creo que es Liquid. Pero bueno, sí, podría ser también Solid, claro. Como tiene
Yo
tantas
también.
troleadas este juego.
Kojima es un troller por nacimiento, pero molaría mucho que te pienses que es el Liquid y de repente por sorpresa es Snake, que fue un rebelde cuando no era joven.
Y por favor pedir a la gente que no haga spoiler. Porque veo comentarios que
Sí,
no,
cierto.
que no me gustan nada y ya he bloqueado a gente. Pero por favor, es que estoy yendo lento para hacerlo bien y todo correcto. Y es que prácticamente ya me han spoileado el final, ¿sabes? Y otra gente pues también que está disfrutando del juego en el
cierto.
canal, que lo estoy haciendo lento o bien, pues me sabe mal también mucho por ellos.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
No fallas ni un XTMB, ¿eh?
Encima se ha puesto a llover. Un momento increíble. Me gusta mucho cuando llueve y hay un combate así épico.
Cuerpo a cuerpo, mola mucho.
Me están disparando. Me están disparando, tío.
You lose, Commander.
Increíble cinemática.
Qué guapo. Es mi parte preferida, o al menos el boss que más me ha gustado.
This is B-Quad. Arriving shortly at LZ. This is B-Quad. Have arrived at LZ. Will stand by.
Support helicopter has arrived.
Bueno, esto ha sido impresionante. Hemos estado hablando del Dark y yo, y hay que decir que él ha tenido una cinemática y yo he tenido otra. Vamos a explicarnos. Aquí esta cinemática que acabáis de ver, cuando coge la silla Ellie y Big Boss lo tumba, yo esta no la he tenido. Y no está confirmado, pero creemos que es porque yo a Ellie no lo derroté en el habitáculo ese y no estaba cerca de la silla. Entonces no tuve yo esa cinemática. Y la cinemática que yo tuve yo y el Dark Sea fue que esta misma que ha pasado al subir las escaleras. Había una cinemática que el Ellie se levantaba de la silla, como hemos visto en muchos trailers, y era cortica y empezaba el combate. Y creemos también que él no la ha podido ver porque el Ellie se va moviendo por el habitáculo en algunos momentos y no la ha pillado sentado. Lo hemos pillado ahí, como habéis visto en el vídeo, que estaba de pie y ha saltado la alarma y ha empezado el combate directamente.
Y bueno, como ha dicho Hardy, perfectamente, muy bien explicado. Es lo que ha pasado, así sabéis un poquito por qué no ha salido una cinemática y por qué ha salido la otra. Y nada, espero que os haya gustado, como los anteriores. Ha sido para mí una de las mejores partes. Os mando un saludo a todos y nos vemos.
¡Hasta la vista!
We got rules around here. Never draw a weapon on a fellow soldier. You got that? Anyone here can use a knife or a gun. What you're gonna learn is how to use your head.
Let's move!
When you get that under your belt, then you're free to leave.
Boss, welcome home. Thank you.